GHONS complex. Question number 3, pathology paper 1, 3 marker. So, GHONS complex. As you can see, wait, let me just point here. This is lung, okay, and you can see a blue arrow here and a red arrow here. So, if you read the description here, primary pulmonary tuberculosis, GHONS complex. The gray-white parenchymal focus is under the pleura. Where? Under the pleura. What is the pleura? Covering of the lung. In the lower part of the upper lobe. So we have 3 lobes on the right side and 2 lobes on the left side. Okay. So this is where under the pleura in the lower part of the upper lobe. Anyone. Okay, either this side or that side. It's called as hilar lymph node, and also there is involvement of the hilar lymph node with caseation are seen on the left, which is blue arrow here. So you can see a white discoloration here, white discoloration. So all these are GHONS focus, and if this GHONS focus is accompanied with the adjacent lymph nodes of the lungs, okay, surrounding the lung there are many lymph nodes. So along with any GHONS focus, if it is involved with the lymph node 2, then this thing is called as GHONS complex. Only white caseation necrosis or white 1 to 2 centimeter white thing is formed in the lungs parenchyma, which has acid fast tuberculous bacilli, that is GHONS focus. If it is accompanied with the lymph node, then that is called as complex. Complex is something which is more than 2 or something, right, involved with something else. So in Robbins, what does it say? Primary tuberculosis in countries where consumption of the infected milk has been eliminated. Primary tuberculosis almost always begins in the lungs. Okay, so initially in the past, let's suppose in India only, because in India we consume huge amount of milk. So initially in the past there was no pasteurization of the milk, right? So in the milk there were tuberculous bacilli, and this was the primary reason to cause tuberculosis in the intestine. But as advancement happened and the pasteurization of the milk has happened, so in pasteurization all the bacteria gets killed. Okay, so now the transmission has been changed, the route of transmission has changed, it is now inhalational. So most of the time now it is in the lungs. Okay, so that's what he's trying to say here. Typically the inhaled bacilli implant in the distal air spaces of the lower part of the upper lobe. Where? In the lower part of the upper lobe. And why usually this TB happens in the upper lobe? Because tuberculous bacilli, which is Mycobacterium tuberculosis, they are aerobes, they need oxygen. Okay, they need a place where there is oxygen rich to grow. Hence they are usually found in the upper lobe. Okay, and usually close to the pleura. As sensitization develops, a 1 to 1.5 centimeter area of the gray white inflammation with consolidation emerges, known as GHONS focus. So you understand? In most cases, the center of this focus undergoes caseous necrosis. What is caseous necrosis? It is nothing but, as you can see here, white colored cheese like material. So this white colored cheese like necrosis, where the cells are dead, okay, along the cells, the tissue, then all those defense cells, okay, and even the bacilli, all these are dead at that spot, forming this white cheese like material, is nothing but the caseous necrosis. So tubercle bacilli, either free or within phagocytes, drain into the regional lymph node, which also often caseate. This combination of parenchymal lung lesion and the nodal involvement is referred to as GHONS complex. So to form the complex, we need the GHONS focus, along with that the lymph node also. Okay, so both of them, as you can see in the diagram, there is pink material at the center, and surrounding that we have too many cells. Let me just zoom in. Yeah, see, you can see the nucleus ka shape. This looks like slippers, right? So slippered shaped nucleus, okay, these are called as modified epithelioid cells. See, modified macrophages with abundant cytoplasm and pale staining slipper shaped nuclei called as epithelioid cells. This is very important. If you are in second year, you should know what is all this epithelioid cells, Langerhans giant cells, caseous necrosis, this granuloma. So all this surround the outer part, which is round purple color, okay, these are all lymphocytes. So lymphocytes will be at the extremes. Then we have the macrophages, all the modified macrophages, the slipper shaped cells. Then inside we have the caseating necrosis. Okay, and too many macrophages combine together to form something called as Langerhans giant cells, multinucleated giant cell. Okay, and surrounding we have this lymphocytes. So that was the cartoon picture. This is the real picture, as you can see here. I don't know if I can zoom in more, but see, this pinkish material is nothing but the caseous necrosis, and surrounding that we have all this slipper shaped cell, and all this the surrounding we have lymphocytes. Okay, all this is caseating necrosis. So that is granuloma, and this is how it looks gross, like from outside. And surrounding the lungs you have too many these things, lymph nodes and lymphatic vessels. Okay, so if let's suppose here is somewhere here there is caseating necrosis, that is nothing but the GHONS focus. From there any lymph node got infected. Okay, so that together forms the complex, GHONS complex. So for the 3 marker, what will you write? What can you write? You can write the definition: the primary lesion in the tuberculosis. Why primary lesion? Because a person who has been infected for the first time by the Mycobacterium tuberculosis causing tuberculosis, TB, not the secondary. The primary lesion should be there. Okay, so that person should be infected newly. Consisting of granuloma. I just showed you what is granuloma. This is the granuloma. This is the granuloma. Okay, so often in the subpleural zone, he described here already where it is forming, in the lower part of the upper lobe or upper part of the lower lobe near the pleura. So yeah, where there is oxygen rich, that much you have to remember, where there is oxygen. So granuloma in the lung, often in the subpleural zone of the middle or the lower lobe, regional lymph node involvement, and there should be involvement of the regional lymph node. What is the significance? Indicates initial site of the infection and immune response. So yeah, all this shows the immune response. Granuloma again. What is the outcome? So outcome, it can be the calcification. Over the time, this white caseating necrosis can be deposited with the calcium, okay, which will calcify over the time, and yeah, so that forms the GHONS focus. So this was about the GHONS complex, and you can pause and just read during the first week what all. There's also lymphatic and hematogenous dissemination to the part of the body. Approximately 95% of the cases, development of the cell-mediated immunity controls the infection. Hence, the GHONS complex undergoes progressive fibrosis, often followed by the radiologically detectable calcification. So once it is calcified, then it can be radiologically detected. And despite seeding of the other organs, no lesions develop. Okay. So yeah, that was about the GHONS complex.